Okay, so this is going to be our second STE, which is just a further collaboration on our servant leadership service hour project. So I will just go ahead and start off with question number 1, which is, what specific service are you providing for your community partner? And what I said was, we are providing just as a general servant leader service to the community partner. We are doing this by not only volunteering for Habitat for Humanity, but volunteering at the base of it through the Restore facility. So we help organize all the household items and the construction materials that are either given or donated to the facility, so that when construction workers and volunteers come into the Restore building, they can easily find those materials to help build the homes or whatever structure that they're building. So that's kind of what I mean by the Restore facility being like the base of it, because we really set that foundation just to make whatever volunteering project that they're doing just a little easier for everyone. And again, we just do that by like organizing and making sure that everything's neat and clean there. Which just makes the whole process for the coworkers and for the volunteers and families and just customers just within the community that come in, it makes it a little less stressful when they're building a home or renovating their home that they already live in.
Yeah, and if we can get the screen over. I just wanted to add in that from what I've learned at the service that we're providing, the main component was organization. That's like where it starts. If volunteers weren't there to help organize, price, keep it clean like that, it would be very difficult for customers to come in and find those materials at lower prices so that they can start building their home. So.
Yes, and also with the Restore, everything that gets sold, some stuff gets donated. They barely buy anything unless it's like a big blowout from a hotel going down or something. But all of the money, majority of the money that they get from items being sold is to go and build houses. It goes to houses, and for light in the lighting department, every year, at least last year, as much as they sold with the lighting alone was able to do 10 houses for the Habitat for Humanity that funded that much houses.
That's amazing.
Okay. So I will go ahead and go on to question number 2, which is how many hours, and I'll just say how many hours I have personally logged so far. And I kind of just broke it down a little bit since I did it over a couple of days. So currently I have finished all my hours, and I did my first 3 hours during the Riverbend tour, which we kind of talked about on the first STE. But I'll kind of just touch base on it again, just that I thought it was a very eye-opening experience. It really showed me how certain parts of our community that were in poverty really needed that additional support and help through volunteers and just through organizations like Habitat for Humanity. And it really caused me to have a lot of insight on it, to see that there was so much poverty that was so close next to me, like close to my neighborhood, that I didn't even know about. So that really opened my eye to make me want to branch out and volunteer more through other organizations. So then I finished the rest of my hours at Habitat for Humanity Restore. And the first day there, me and another team member, Alyssa, helped organize all the clothes washers and dryers and like the different types of stoves that they had, and like refrigerators and stuff from highest price to lowest price. And what was funny was that we were actually doing all of this by hand, which was really hard for 2 young girls. And then we later found out, because another, I think it was a coworker or a volunteer, came up to us with one of those big crate things to move it. So we didn't get that until like Yeah, we didn't get that until the last, like, I want to say 2 hours of that shift.
Yeah.
But it was still a really fun experience. And it was a little workout, which is fine. And then the second day that we volunteered there, or that I volunteered there, was with Alyssa again. And we actually worked with another volunteer. We went through 3 huge boxes that had a whole bunch of just like random items in it. Like there was doorknobs, door hinges, door stoppers, different kinds of screws and stuff like that. And we really just separated each one of them, put them in a specific bin, and then another volunteer helped kind of label the price and stuff like that. And we like would neatly place them on the shelf or find a new spot for them on the shelf. And then my last couple hours, so for the third day, we did it again at the Restore facility. And this was with, we hung up new lights and chandeliers at the Restore facility. They have, it's not technically on the ceiling, but it's like a huge kind of metal fence or like a grate that sits on top of everything. And so I would stand on a ladder while Alyssa held the ladder, and I would carry up those big lights or those big chandeliers and hang them from the top and just kind of organize them. And so that's kind of what we did, or what I did for my service hours. And all of my service hours totaled up, ended up being 15 and a half.
Yeah. So as Mackenzie was explaining, Mackenzie and I did a majority of the volunteering together. I felt that it was a wonderful experience to not have to do that alone, because it had actually been a very long time since I had volunteered. I also completed my hours that totaled to about 15 and a half. And I also did the 3-hour Riverbend tour, which I'm not an Iowa native here. I've been here since October of 2015. And it was really nice to understand and gain a perspective on what's going on in our local community, because I don't live very far actually from Riverbend, so it was very eye-opening. And yeah, the majority of the tasks that I did were the same as Mackenzie, and it was just a great experience.
Well, unfortunately, my schedule is different than Mackenzie and Alyssa's, so I volunteered by myself every single time. However, for the Riverbend tour, I was with Alyssa for the 3 hours, and as they stated, it was very eye-opening to see everything that's going on in our community that we don't even realize is going on. So the first 2 times that I volunteered, I was in the paint aisle. So I would label tape, put gallons of paint where they're supposed to be, organize top shelves, organize all kinds of different paint supplies. And then the last time that I was there, I did rugs. I can't remember his name, but he was really nice. He had me learn a trick to get big rugs down, small rugs down to help people in need. And then also, excuse me, I also had to hang rugs as well and get them organized, make sure they're the right brand, the right type, and the right size. So I did volunteer by myself, but I had fun while doing it. Oh, and I did 15 hours as well.
Perfect. So I think all of us have finished our hours, which is great, because then we can move on further in the class, or even start volunteering more at other organizations. So I'll go ahead and go on to question number 3, which is, what are you learning? Examples or like joys, challenges, and insights. And what I put was, I've learned a lot so far through our service learning hours. I found so much joy in helping others who needed it and seeing how thankful they were, especially when it was something so little that we did. Just by organizing something or just telling them where something was or answering a question. All the customers and employees and other volunteers were very thankful to have us there. I also grew insight on the different challenges that people who are in poverty face, and how much volunteers help through these organizations and other community resources. it really just showed, or doing my hours there just really showed how important it is to have organizations like this, especially ones that will help like specific groups or whatever, just kind of like the ones that we learned about at the Riverbend tour. And then I would say that the only challenge I kind of faced during my time volunteering was maybe a little bit of a safety issue. And that was when I was performing like certain tasks, like putting the lights up on, or the chandeliers, hanging those up on a huge ladder, especially since I was a new volunteer there and that me and Alyssa were both young, small girls. I just found it kind of surprising that they would have us by ourselves get up on this and hang up these heavy chandeliers, which I think we were both really happy to help, but I just thought it was a little dangerous in my opinion. But it kind of just showed me that other employees and other volunteers, someone has to do that job. So it just kind of shows that safety can be a risk, but maybe the benefits outweigh the risks, just because you are helping people. And I also said that just all in all, I really learned how truly rewarding volunteering can be, and that I will definitely more than likely do it a lot more in the future.
That's great. Yeah. Aside from the safety, I really liked that they gave us a lot of independence. They weren't hovering, but they were. I was inspired that they were so appreciative of our time, and when someone feels appreciated, they want to go above and beyond than what is needed. So the things that I learned is that being appreciative makes it feel so rewarding to help and volunteer like this, because it's been a very long time since I've done it. A challenge, the biggest one I had was probably the fact that we were both new there. A lot of the times we had people come in looking for certain materials or items, wanting to know price, and I either didn't know, or I would try to find a solution by finding someone else. But even then, other volunteers that are regularly there were actually not available at the time. So it was kind of a struggle trying to lead individuals in the right direction for what they were looking for. Mm-hmm. But other than that, not too much of a challenge.
Good.
Well, the challenge for me also was going on a ladder by myself. I didn't have anyone beside me, so that kind of scared me. But they do the independence where the person that you're with, you have a person you're with for the day, and they say, I have the paint aisle and the lighting aisle. So then you go and you work on the aisle a day, you organize and all this kind of stuff. So that was fun for me. And the insight that I got, it was really helping people, because like you stated, the employees are very thankful. And even seeing other volunteers that come in on a daily basis, that is very inspiring to me as well, to show that there are people who come in on their own time just to do it. Mm-hmm. One of the last days that I was there, I saw another girl who was volunteering, and she was volunteering for a school as well. So that kind of gave me some insight on the community, and talking to some community members as well. Had good conversations with people, even though, like Alyssa stated, I couldn't really show them where stuff was at.
Yeah, it's a great way to meet new people and socialize, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll go on to the last question, which is number 4. How has or is your team project expressing and developing your servant leadership skills, and to be specific? And I said that I believe our team project is really expressing and developing our servant leadership skills that are kind of the same as Greenleaf's 10 principles of being a servant leader. Throughout this course, I really just realized that a lot of it goes back to Greenleaf. I feel like he really sets the foundation of being or becoming an excellent servant leader. So that's kind of what I related my question to. And I said that we really developed the principle of awareness by becoming educated on the organization and their purpose. By becoming educated on them and really being able to experience it on a more personal view, we're able to spread more awareness in the community, just so we can get more volunteers and more and additional help, just so more of us can branch out into the community and help others that need it. I also said that we all definitely expressed a commitment to our service hours by showing how committed we were to each task that we were given during that time, and how we completed each task with a positive attitude and in a timely manner. And I actually think that all of us found each task, even if it was difficult, we found it really enjoying. I said that we definitely expressed and developed in building a community. We learned the importance of becoming involved within our community, and we helped develop it into a stronger community by helping others that were in need. And I just really thought that this whole project was just really eye-opening to me, and just opened a whole nother world to me. And I definitely will be volunteering more in the future, not only because it's really rewarding for me, but just it's really nice to know that you're helping other people and also having fun doing it.
Yeah, that's very true. That was something that our professor emphasized on, was to have fun while we go through with the project. I certainly did. But for what I've learned in regards to developing servant leadership skills, I really wanted to touch on, I mean, not only building the community, but also listening. Listening was super important to me, just because we need to listen in order to understand rather than to reply. I'm sure we've heard that before, but I've actually learned that that is the best way to develop communication and also find what volunteers need, like find out what they're needing in help, just because they are the backbone of this facility, and this facility wouldn't be as organized as it was for people to come in and find those cheaper materials to buy without knowing where things are. So another thing would be definitely creating awareness. That is something that I have developed more on. It wasn't exactly an accomplished goal of ours, but the awareness of it actually educating people on what's going on in our community really seemed to be something I learned to do, because a lot of people are just unaware, and the best thing you can do is tell them.
Yep, I agree.
So as you guys stated, there's the 10 principles of servant leadership, and at the beginning of the course I picked my top 3 as listening, empathy, and building community, and I believe that I would keep those as my top 3 even doing the servant leadership project, because as you guys stated, listening is very important. You can't lead if you don't listen. You can hear and you can understand, but you have to listen and take their words and make it into something. And then the empathy, there's not as much empathy in the restore, it's more just helping people, but in the real life, having empathy for people who don't have houses and helping them with the houses, helping them getting the building supplies and all that kind of stuff. And then building the community, because without building a community, you don't have anyone to lean on. And so building community is a step that is crucial to be able to have a community that everyone can rely on, not just one person, but everyone. It takes everyone to have a community. And then you help each other out, like as I said before, from listening to taking those words and making it an action. So I feel like it's helped me a lot. I do want to volunteer again. I would like to try to, in the summer, help build the houses instead of just the restore. I'd like to kind of go out and beyond a little bit and maybe just help with one house, or just kind of do some more volunteering once my schedule kind of slows down a little bit. I want to have more time to be able to give back to my community.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that answers all the questions. So unless you guys have any questions or anything extra you guys want to add, I'll go ahead and end the broadcast.
Okay.
Nothing?
Just say thanks, guys, for being such wonderful
yeah.
group members through the hard times and everything else. Mackenzie, you're a great leader, and Alyssa, you're awesome as well. So I really appreciate you guys, and thank you for getting us through the semester.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad you guys were my team members. It definitely made this project and future projects a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
really
I almost forgot to actually address, we've been going through this whole process and with this project the whole semester, and didn't get a chance to say, like, this is probably one of the best teamwork group work things that I've had to do with getting things done, because I'm sure we've all had some pretty negative experiences in the work, and so far this has been really pleasant. And actually, despite, even though this is an online class for us, and things that we have to do are strictly online unless we want to meet in person, it's worked out really well, and I appreciate all the communication too. So.
Yep. Okay, well, perfect. I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast. Okay, guys?
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.